Hello everybody, all two people. Testing. Yes, there is live out here, unfortunately. So welcome to another stream. I'm going to be a bit technical on this one. Well, slightly technical anyway. It's a basic soldering job. So how is everybody? Getting bored of the Quantel stuff yet? Right, so what are we going to do? Well, I've got a Paintbox here that I've been trying to fix up for somebody, and it's pretty much working as expected, but the non-volatile RAM is flat on the CPU board, so all I need to do is just remove these two NVRAMs just here and solder in some new ones, but I'll probably put a socket in there. Where are your subscribers? I don't know. Obviously not interested in live streams, but there we go. Right, so yeah, you've probably seen one of these before if you've been watching any of my stuff previously, but we've got two ST Micro NVRAMs just here. One is a clock and one is just an SRAM. Well, actually one is an SRAM and a clock, and the other one's just SRAM. So we've got two of those, so those need desoldering out, and that is often a bit of a pain, because Quantel always like to have tiny annular rings on their boards, which makes it really difficult to desolder. So what I might try doing on this one, given that you're probably not going to see this on my potato vision camera, but the actual legs on the IC there are actually protruding out, so I'm actually wondering about getting in there with the snips and actually just snip them out first and then just desolder the pins individually. So I think that's what we'll do. So first off, I'm going to just take out these ROMs, which are next to them, just to give me a bit more of an angle in there. It's not actually a Dallas, it's actually an ST Micro part, but it's the same sort of thing. Yeah, built-in battery that go flat after what, maybe 15 years or so, 20. I think they last quite a long time in these paint boxes because generally these would have spent a lot of time on, and when of course when the SRAM is powered up, you're not using the battery that's in them, so the longer the machine is on for, the longer the battery seems to last. So right, now let's pull out all these jumpers, and they're all pointing towards the top end of the card. Good evening, Fabio. Hello, welcome along. And I'll just take out this pal or gal, whatever it is. Put that over there. So that should give me a bit of room to get in there with the snips and snip these out. If I can find my snips. Where's my snips gone? Just there. So hopefully I should just be able to snip that. Yes, it's going to work. I think. I hate desoldering these. It's especially on these Quantel boards, because they're so hard to get all the solder out. So I'm just getting in here with the side cutters just onto the pins. A little bit awkward, but certainly doable. There we go. One side done. Yeah, there's lots of 7-foot. Yeah, there's lots of buffer ICs and all sorts of doohickeys on here. Yeah, it's all very, very old school, but then it is from the 1980s. It's just a shame they didn't put these non-volatile RAMs in sockets, eh? There we go. First one out. What's the chap doing? Yeah, 7.4 series for the win. Yeah, yeah, there's plenty of it around here. Yeah, need some better snips, I think, really. But come out. Ever heard of chip creep? They move out of their sockets. Yeah, apparently Quantel had some problems with that. There's I think they did have problems with chip creep, especially these PLCC sockets, which is why you probably can't see on there, but they've glued them in. I hope I don't ever need to do anything with those. I'm not seeing them come out of any of the through hole sockets, but I'm sure it's happened. Murphy's Law and all that. Once I've done, where did you order the Dallas chips? I got them from RS, because yeah, you can't trust eBay, to be honest. You're better off just paying a little bit extra and just getting them from a reputable source. Thankfully RS does free shipping as well now, so you can actually, it's not that bad really. I think one was £8. The one without the clock in was £8, and I think the clock one was £11 or something. Yeah, it's not worth chancing eBay. You end up just paying twice anyway if you end up with some dodgy load of tat. There's some things I buy off eBay, but I think I'll probably avoid things like that. Nearly there. Should be the last one, I think. Yep. That's the last one. So these, I said these aren't actually Dallas, these are ST Micro MK48T and MK48, is it Z? Yeah, MK48Z. They're quite a common one, I think, used in the 80s and 90s. So now I've just got to desolder those rather jagged looking pins out of the way. Now I'm actually going to try using my hot air gun. Because I don't know, I just thought I might try it, see what it's like for desoldering something like this, because I could just grab the one end with my tweezers and heat it up. So we'll give that a try. If it doesn't work, I'll just use my soldering iron. Should come out all right. More heat, I think. One side done. Get in there. It's taking a while. Oh, where did that go? Taking a while. I think it's. I'm not sure whether it's easier than sucking the solder out, to be honest. The only ones left now are the power and ground, which we need a bit more heating. I'd like to do with the air, so I'm just using the soldering iron for that. Come on. More heat needed. Got it. It's done already. That one. That one. Is that it? That's it. Give this a clean up. Yeah, I normally do use a solder sucker, incidentally, but I just thought I'd give it a try with using the hot air. Yeah, I've got a proper, well, a cheap solder sucker, and I've also got a hand pump as well. It usually works pretty well, but I just thought I'd give that a try. Right, so clean up all these holes. Oh, hang on, missed one. Missed one. Oh, it's amazing how hot you have to get this to, because they have the ground planes are internal, and this would be quite clearly on a ground plane because it doesn't want to come out. There we go. Got it. Right, let's use some solder braid on this. A bit of flux. Oh, there's a pin there. See, I missed another one. I guess one that's broken off. Now I will need a solder sucker. Where is it? It's around here somewhere. There we go. Going to come out of there. It's just one leg left. It's just a tiny portion of it. It's just stuck. Stuck in there. There we go. I suppose that's one of the pitfalls of using, just going through and chopping the IC out. You end up with like little bits of pins and stuff that you wouldn't normally. What's the chat doing? Sorry, I haven't been watching. Oh, hi Ash. Nice to see you here. Those real-time clock things remind me of those security CPU find in the arcade games. Contained a CPU and some battery backed up RAM on a non-replaceable coin cell. Oh yeah, I think I might have read something about that a long time ago. Yeah, that sounds horrible with the arcade machines. With encrypted stuff in battery backed RAMs, I mean that's just evil, isn't it? You know what, I think I'm actually going to have to suck this out anyway with the gun. Because this doesn't quite want to get all the solder out. Yeah, this is leaving it just a tiny little bit of solder left in there. Oh, suck it up. Come on. I think. Yeah, solder sucker time, to be honest. I have to actually put solder on it to get it out. At least there's no pins. At least there's no pins getting in the way now. So it should suck out pretty nicely, to be honest. Yeah. Definitely easier than using the braid. Clogged up. So Ash, how are you getting on with that Sonos thing? Have you figured it out yet? I think you were saying it's the amplifier section is toast or something. I want to talk about the chip and pin terminals. Yeah, they're quite interesting bits of kit with all the physical security on them. Thought about doing a teardown on one myself, but I think there's a few people done them anyway, so not really that much point. They're probably all very similar things, aren't they? Oh, it's evil. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Ash has been trying to fix a Sonos, and yeah, it's looking like it's a bit of a pain. Yeah, sounds like you picked a good one there, didn't you? Come on, desolder. That's better. You can always tell the ones that are on the ground and power, because they never want to go. That's better. Oh, how many pins? Getting blocked up again. Where have we got to go? We're nearly there. We're just over halfway. Tell you one thing I wanted to ask the collective is, obviously I've got incredibly distracted by all these Quantel products over the last 12 months or so. people actually still keen to see stuff with it, or are you getting bored with Quantel? I would be interested to know. Nearly there. So 5 or 6 left to go. Last one, and I think we're done. Right, so that's all the holes desoldered. Where's my view? So just need to give that a clean up with flux cleaner, which is about here somewhere. We can solder in some sockets. Yeah, it's a very good point, Fabio. Don't mind, he said, I don't mind Paintbox stuff as long as there is something else in between. Yes, I have been trying to do that. Well, the place where I normally got my teardowns doesn't really have that much stuff at the moment. But yeah, hopefully what I'll be trying to do is just sort of put something a little bit different into the mix occasionally, just so it's not the Quantel Paintbox channel. What else are people saying? ZX8401ZTV, yes. New subber, welcome along. I guess I've been doing the Quantel stuff for about a year or so, ever since Ash, who's there in the chat, he sent me a broken paint box, and I eventually fixed it with a lot of help from other people. And ever since then, I've sort of been on this mad quest. Looks pretty good. Fabio suggests you should make an intro or something for a video using a paint box and showing how it's done, like properly using the thing like it was supposed to. Yes, that's a very, very good idea and something I've really wanted to do, but the problem is I don't really know what I'm doing. So a slight issue there. I have these ideas of like, oh yeah, I could do X, Y, Z, but then I'm like, not quite sure how you do that without spending like 3 days doing it. So yeah, it's just a lot of the Paintbox artists had little tips and tricks and stuff that they used to do to speed things up, which obviously I don't know. So given I've only had a working Paintbox for the last 12 months, I mean, some of the Paintbox artists used to be artists for a decade or so. So just thinking I can just create all these wonderful graphic things is actually a bit of a challenge. But hopefully I will slowly get my head around it. And interestingly, as I mentioned the other day, I will be filming a feature on the Quantel Paintbox. I won't actually be filming it. My Quantel Paintbox will be used by an ex-Paintbox artist to sort of demonstrate how things were produced back in the day. So the good thing is I will actually have a chance to chat to them and find out how it's done. Right, I was going to install, where have they gone? Some pin headers on these, but I've managed to save a load of these little turn pin sockets, but they're individual. You're not going to be able to see that, it's just a tiny little pin. They're slightly lower profile than the equivalent inline one, so I'm actually going to try putting those onto the actual new NVRAMs here and solder those in, because it means it won't stick up quite so high off the board. So I'm going to give that a go. Probably regret it, but right, I'm just going to have to pause you there just for a second. Let me just mute the audio. I will be back in just a moment. Sorry about that, I am back now. Yeah, so as I was saying, I'm going to try putting these little turn pin individual sockets in. Now what I'm going to have to do is actually put them on each pin, because I'm not going to be able to put individual pins in here and then solder them in. So I was thinking I could just attach these onto the pins and then pop that in and then solder them in. How's the chat doing? Let's have a quick look. Blimey, I've been missing a lot. Chatting among yourselves, yeah, that's fine. Cool. Right, so yes, I think I will attach these pins to here, and they should bent. Should then be able to solder this in one go. That's not supposed to happen. I think they're going to fit. Yes. I think that should work quite well. I just need to stick these to the pins. I took all these pins off some other Quantel boards that I've been mucking around with. Actually quite nice. I wonder, it's probably the sort of thing you can't buy anymore, probably. Oh, what's in that? I can be using the wrong tweezers, to be honest. Yeah, it's better. Tea drinking, that's a good point. Yeah, my coffee's probably gone cold. One thing that is slightly annoying about old electronics, though, it always seems to be hundreds of pins. It's not like today where everything seems to be just over high-speed serial lines. God, I'm having a job to keep up with the chat, I'm afraid. What are we talking about? I can't quite see. Let's look back. Vampire Accelerator. Oh, you're still chatting away. Talking about 68K stuff. Yeah, I really like 68K stuff. It's always been a favourite of mine. It's a shame I wasn't any good with it, really. But yeah. I was always an Atari person rather than Commodore. Oh yeah, it's taken me 10 minutes just to put these bloody pins on. Right. Make sure I've got it the right way up. We don't want any more mistakes with putting things in backwards. And that is the SRAM. So it goes in there. Give it a jiggle. Looks pretty good. So I think I'll just solder this straight in there. Where's the chat? You're talking about MIPS, silicon graphics, all sorts of vintage stuff. That's what we like to hear. So actually, yeah, I was saying about doing some filming with the Paintbox stuff. So I mentioned that the other day on the live stream that I did the other day, and yeah, it should be really interesting because I will end up being able to talk to a guy who used to do a lot of work with Quantel Paintbox, so hopefully he can give me some tips. It'll also be interesting to find out what he did on it. So that happens in middle of March next month. So we'll have to see what happens. So that's one done. There's the other one. These silly pins on. I think it probably would have been easier just to use those DL145 ones. It's taking twice as long. And it's a lot more fiddly. Oh, we're still talking about, well, we're talking about silicon graphics now. Oh, I did have a silicon graphics indie at one point. Didn't really do anything with it. It was cool to have though. It was quite funny when I sold it though. I sold it to this guy and he came around and picked it up. And he was carrying it out to his car. He tripped over a step and then threw it down the street. Well, it wasn't funny. I couldn't laugh. I think it survived though. Right. I'm not doing this again. These stupid little pins. Quite a neat solution though. Oh, bent a pin. Don't do that. Nearly there. 3 left to put on. Last one. Right. Get this one plugged in the right way round. Give it a wiggle. Oh, that one is not quite desoldered. There we go. Goes in there. Solder this one up. Oh, still talking about SGIs, are we? Yeah, SGIs have always been sought after, haven't they? Especially the old stuff now. Yeah, I kind of wish I'd kept hold of my Indie before I sold it. I think I sold it for like 40 quid or something. I think that was way back in the early noughties, though. I think probably when they didn't have much value. That's that done. So I think we're done with the soldering. So put these jumpers back in. And plug it in and see if it works. Where did that go? Just up there. Goes in there. Making sure it's pointing the right way. I'm never ever going to miss that. And that is TD, which is just there. And that one goes in there. Cool. Right, now I'm going to have to have a bit of a clear up. I'm probably not going to show you putting it into the paint box because I'd have to clear off this entire table to do it. So I shall plug it in and just power it up down here. And get TerraTerm running. And we'll plug this in and see if the non-volatile RAM works. I'm sure it will. There. Go there. Go there. There. Just a quick clear up. So if I turn on Terraterm, you should be able to see what the Paintbox says. So I'm just going to plug it in. Hopefully it won't go bang this time. First time I powered this up, the mains filter exploded, and then 2 tantalum caps exploded. So let's just take this, plug it in, double check everything, all solders. Yeah. Just sliding this in. Right, need to. Where's my connector? There it is. Just plugging the serial cable in to the diagnostics port, and I'll set this. Right. I'll just turn this on. Don't go bang. Sounds promising. So we're just in the ROM monitor at the moment. Let's see what is in the non-volatile RAM. This is the memory location for the non-volatile RAM, and it's all blank and looks pretty good. So if we try and boot this up, it will start to boot, but then it'll have a tantrum because the clock won't be ticking until the time has been set. So if we do 1L, I'll load it off disk. Try and catch up on the on the chat there. Love the smell of tantalum caps in the morning. Yeah, thanks Ash. Yeah, they're horrible actually. To be honest, the mains filter stank more than the tantalum caps. Right, so let's tell this to boot up. Oh, it looks like the clock is actually running. It's looking like it's reset itself. Sometimes these non-volatile RAMs, when you use them for the first time, they sort of switch themselves on and start to... Oh no, it did say that. Clock is not ticking. I don't know if you saw that. So it will, that's where it's... this bit here, invalid serial number, options, password. Can't go any further. That's actually because the clock's not ticking. So we just need to set the clock in filer, utils, util. Set the time to be, what is it, 17:50, and the date is the 12/02/2000. I never set it to the current year because I think there's a bug in the operating system that doesn't like over a certain date, so I'll set it to 2000. So now the time's set, so we will also now clear the non-volatile RAM, we'll reset it to zeros. Do that in memory, and then do clear $40,000 to $40FF. So I'm just basically saying clear everything from 40,000 to 40 FFF. And clear it to 0. So now all this should be 0. Yeah. So if we go back and reset it, press the reset button. Oops, wrong reset button. That's the one. So what that's done, this bit of data here is basically set by the ROM monitor when it knows that the NVRAM is clear and white. So that's all now on 0. So if we do 1L again, we'll try it this time. Hopefully this time it should be a bit happier. Come on, you can do it. That's fine. Serial number is correct. Keys are correct. UPB. That will start the actual painting task. Just whirring away for a moment. Let's just plug a video cable in. I can't get any video out of the main video port because I haven't set it up. But if I connect up to this other one, I should. Right, so that's booted up. I'll just turn off Terraturn. Drop the camera. We have a running Paintbox, and it's all in the wrong colours because it's not been set up. Stick that there. Turn this on. Plug it in here. For my port. Where's my pen gone? Hi Ash, Fujitsu driver. Any news on the Paintbox drive? No, there is no news as yet on the old Fujitsu, unfortunately. So I'm just here with my tablet. There we go. So Well, it looks like a pretty awful picture. If I go to full screen menu and go on to configure, out, monitor, no, don't want to turn that one off. To pick YUV and set G-Sync up to about 50 something. I should be able to change my output. Still not done anything. Oh, sync on green. That is why. Let's try this again. That's better. So, there we go. Another fixed Paintbox. So, I think we are pretty much concluded, I think. It's been another Paintbox rescued from the scrap heap. How is the chat doing? God, there's a lot of stuff I've missed. So, I think we are concluded. Right, I'm going to call it quits there because I'm going to need some to get dinner on the go. And yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Thank you everybody for watching. Unfortunately, I don't have time to chat, unfortunately, so I'm going to have to cut you loose, and I will see you on the next video, whenever that is. Thanks everybody.